The European Parliament proposes internal reforms to the EU before enlargement to strengthen rule of law and democracy.
Ukraine's president is ramping up his leadership reshuffle. On Saturday, Volodymyr Zelensky fired long-serving aide Serhiy Shafir from his post as first assistant. He also dismissed 5 others, including 3 advisors. The move comes just hours after Ukraine's Air Force says it shot down several Russian drones. Russia's defense ministry says its forces have launched 1 mass and 57 group strikes against Ukrainian military infrastructure facilities in the past week. Meanwhile, regional authorities are continuing to evacuate thousands of children from the Russian border city of Belgorod. They say the area has come under increasing Ukrainian shelling. Around 5,000 children have been moved so far. It's one of the biggest publicly announced evacuations since the war started more than 2 years ago.
15 years have passed since the last update of a treaty of the European Union. Entering into force in 2009, the Treaty of Lisbon clarified the division of powers between the EU and member states. Since then, some have called for treaty changes in anticipation of the bloc's enlargement.
The EU needs to be made future-proof. It has to become more agile. It has to have more capacity to act, in particular if the EU is going to grow.
Institutional reforms would also aim to build on the EU's capacity to respond to contemporary challenges.
We are dealing with a different international context, and Europe needs to raise its capacity to defend itself, to support Ukraine.
So the European Parliament, which gave the green light at the end of November to proposals for reforming the treaties of the Union, proposed to create a defence union with military capabilities. Proponents of reform argue the defence of the rule of law and democratic legitimacy of the EU could also be strengthened.
One of the major weaknesses of the European Union has been, over the past years, that it hasn't been able to protect the rule of law in all member states.
The expert recommends increasing budgetary conditions and improving Article 7 of the Treaty of the European Union, which allows the suspension of a member state's voting rights in the Council in the event of non-compliance with its fundamental values. Triggered against Poland and Hungary, Article 7 never succeeded and has not yet achieved its goal. Digital and energy transitions, the fight against climate change and health crises are all global challenges that require increased EU capacity for action, according to experts.
Europe needs to have a key role in improving global governance when dealing with climate change.
When it comes to energy, experts and MEPs propose the creation of an integrated European energy union to guarantee a stable, affordable and sustainable energy supply for Europeans. And there are also calls for increased EU competence to ensure fair and impartial access to healthcare within the EU or to conduct group procurement of vaccines. However, opponents of these proposed reforms believe that these powers belong to member states, and many are calling for more national sovereignty.
Around the world, Easter is being celebrated in a variety of ways. In the Vatican, Pope Francis presided over an Easter vigil, a day after pulling out of services due to ongoing ill health. In Italy, increased security measures mean more surveillance and checks in crowded places. The country is following France in ramping up its security level after a terrorist attack in a concert hall in Moscow killed 144 people. Jerusalem has scaled down celebrations, with fewer foreign visitors making celebrations a mostly local affair for Christians. The ongoing war between Israel and Gaza has meant travelers have been blocked from visiting Jerusalem. In Germany, over 70 peace marches kicked off the annual tradition across the country. Participants drew attention to the wars in Gaza and Ukraine and called for a pacifist approach.